The slap echoed through the crowded subway car like a thunderclap, freezing time as Olivia's palm connected with the stranger's stubbled cheek, her coffee splashing between them in a caffeinated explosion that would irrevocably alter both their lives. She had felt his hand brush against her in the packed train, once, twice, 3 times, each touch lingering just long enough to confirm her worst suspicions about the tall man in the expensive suit who now stared at her with widening eyes, his hand rising to his reddening face. What Olivia couldn't possibly know in that catastrophic moment was that this man, Gabriel Torres, the notoriously private tech billionaire whose company she'd spent weeks preparing to interview with, had simply been trying to tap her shoulder to return the resume that had fallen from her bag, the very resume bearing her name that was now soaking in a puddle of coffee at their feet. "You're making a terrible mistake," he said quietly, his voice barely audible above the subway's rumble, but carrying enough authority to make the surrounding passengers step back, creating an island of tension around them. Olivia's stomach plummeted as she watched him retrieve a business card from his pocket, her future crumbling before her eyes when she recognized the distinctive blue logo of Horizon Technologies, the company offering the dream job that would save her from eviction, pay for her sister's medical treatments, and finally utilize her years of specialized education. The card trembled slightly between his fingers as he extended it toward her, his expression unreadable except for a curious spark in his eyes that wasn't anger but something far more dangerous, interest. Gabriel Torres had built his reputation on being unpredictable, on seeing potential where others saw problems, but even he couldn't have anticipated how this violent introduction would awaken something dormant within him, a recognition that went beyond the professional realm. As the train lurched into the next station, he made a split-second decision that would set in motion a chain of events neither of them could control. "Your interview was scheduled for 9 a.m., he said, checking his watch with deliberate slowness. "You have exactly 17 minutes to convince me why I shouldn't press charges instead of hiring you." The Horizon Technologies building loomed like a glass mountain, reflecting the morning sun with blinding intensity as Olivia followed Gabriel through revolving doors, her heart hammering against her ribs. The security guards nodded deferentially as they passed, their eyes widening slightly at Gabriel's marked cheek but asking no questions. In the private elevator that shot upward with stomach-dropping speed, Olivia struggled to form words, apologies tangling on her tongue while Gabriel stood in silence, his profile sharp against the elevator's mirrored wall. When he finally spoke, his question caught her completely off guard. "Do you always defend yourself so fiercely, or am I special?" Before she could answer, the elevator doors opened to reveal not the expected interview room but a vast, sunlit office with panoramic views of the city, Gabriel's personal domain where few were ever invited. "I had a different kind of evaluation in mind," he said, gesturing toward a seating area where breakfast had been arranged. "I've read your file, Miss Chen. Your technical qualifications are impressive, but after our unconventional meeting, I find myself more interested in understanding the person behind the resume. The woman who wasn't afraid to stand her ground, even when it might cost her everything." What followed was the strangest interview of Olivia's life, a conversation that veered from professional to personal and back again, with Gabriel probing not just her knowledge but her character, her values, her dreams. With each question, with each careful answer, Olivia felt the ground shifting beneath her, uncertainty giving way to something else entirely. When Gabriel excused himself to take an urgent call, leaving her alone with her thoughts and the spectacular view, she found herself at a crossroads. Was this extraordinary opportunity worth the price of working closely with a man who now held such uncomfortable power over her? A man whose inscrutable expressions and penetrating questions left her feeling both seen and exposed in ways that terrified and exhilarated her? The answer came in an unexpected form when Gabriel returned, his expression grave. "There's been a security breach in our main project, the neural interface that could revolutionize medical treatment for conditions like your sister's," he said, watching her reaction closely. "The team needs immediate assistance, and I need someone who thinks differently. Someone unafraid to challenge established patterns. Would you like to observe how we handle crises, or would you prefer to continue our formal interview?" The choice he offered wasn't really a choice at all, it was a test, and they both knew it. Hours later, As evening painted the sky in deepening shades of purple and gold, Olivia stood in stunned silence as Gabriel offered her not the entry-level position she'd applied for but a role on his personal research team, a position that came with a salary that would solve her financial problems overnight and access to experimental treatments that could help her sister. "You impressed everyone today," he said, his earlier formality softening into something warmer. "Especially me. You have a unique perspective that we need." When she hesitated, he added quietly, "This isn't because of what happened this morning. This is because of what you did afterward, how you turned a potential disaster into an opportunity." As weeks turned into months, Olivia discovered layers to Gabriel that contradicted his public image, his unexpected kindness toward the cleaning staff, his genuine passion for using technology to help others, his quiet support when her sister's condition worsened. The tension between them evolved into something more complex, a mutual respect that sometimes sparked with something deeper when their eyes met across conference rooms or when they worked late into the night, shoulders almost touching as they puzzled over problems together. But Gabriel maintained a careful professional distance, never referring to their first meeting, never crossing the invisible boundary between them. Until the night of the company gala, when everything changed again. Dressed in an elegant blue gown that made her feel both powerful and vulnerable, Olivia found herself on the rooftop terrace, seeking a moment of quiet away from the crowd. She didn't hear Gabriel approach until he spoke her name softly, the sound carrying on the night breeze. "I've been unfair to you," he said, his usual confidence replaced by an uncharacteristic hesitation. "I've kept you at arm's length because I was afraid, not of you, but of what I feel when I'm with you." The confession hung between them, fragile and momentous, as city lights twinkled below like earthbound stars. When Olivia finally found her voice, her words surprised even herself. "I slapped you because I was afraid too. Not just of what I thought you were doing, but of being vulnerable, of losing control." The truth of it resonated in the space between them, a bridge forming where there had been only careful distance. As Gabriel slowly reached for her hand, the touch nothing like that first accidental contact but deliberate and gentle, Olivia faced another life-altering choice, to retreat into safety or to risk her heart on a connection that had begun with misunderstanding but had grown into something neither of them had expected. Their first kiss, when it finally happened, tasted of new beginnings and second chances, of fear transformed into courage. But as Gabriel pulled away, his expression clouded. "There's something you need to know," he said, the words heavy with foreboding. "Something about the neural interface project, and your sister's treatment, that I haven't told you." The revelation that followed would test not just their fragile new relationship but everything Olivia thought she knew about Gabriel, about Horizon Technologies, and about the true cost of the miracle cure her sister so desperately needed. 6 months later, standing in the hospital room as her sister took her first unassisted steps in years, Olivia felt Gabriel's steady presence beside her, his hand warm in hers. The journey to this moment had been filled with impossible choices, with betrayals and reconciliations, with discoveries that had shaken the foundations of both their worlds. "I never thought a misunderstanding on a subway could lead to this," she whispered, watching joy illuminate her sister's face. Gabriel's answer was to squeeze her hand, the simple gesture containing all the words they didn't need to say. Their story, from that first explosive meeting to the partnership that had revolutionized both medical technology and their lives, had become something of a legend at Horizon Technologies, a reminder that sometimes the most meaningful connections begin in the most unexpected ways. As they left the hospital together, stepping into the bright promise of a new day, Olivia realized that the greatest journey hadn't been the professional one but the path from judgment to understanding, from fear to trust, from isolation to love. If this story of misunderstanding transformed into deep connection touched something in your heart, if you believe in second chances and the power of seeing beyond first impressions, share it with others who might need a reminder that sometimes life's most painful moments can lead to its greatest gifts. Every journey has its unexpected turns, but it's how we navigate them that truly matters.